There we go. Boom. We are live this time. It actually went through. Good. It went through. So now we're going to unmute over here into Clubhouse. We're going to unmute that. So now we're live over here. We're live over there. We're live over here, there. Dude, I got the greatest. I am going to give you the greatest networking hack of all time. That's what I'm about to give you today. I am going to give you the greatest networking hack of all time. We've been in this series, Your Network is Your Net Worth. I'm going to give you the greatest, the single greatest networking hack of all time. Are you ready for that? Are you prepared for that? Because that's a big deal, right? Knowing how to network is a skill. And I'm going to give you the greatest networking hack of all time here in just a second. Before I do, though, you know what we got to do. Let's get this stuff going. Let's roll. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? You see, there's no excuse for you not pushing yourself to the next level. In order for you to create a new you must have a new mindset. When teams come together, we can create things that are greater than the sum of all of their parts.
Good morning and welcome to Hashtag Rise and Grind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to 8, and the creator of what is going to be the #1 most watched morning show in the world. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind.
It's more than meets the eye. You just think we're going live on Facebook. Nope. We're doing all kinds of stuff. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Beautiful. Beautiful. Listen, today is February 4th. That's right. Today is Thursday, February 4th, 2021. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Thursday, February 4th, 2021. Don't just glaze over that, folks. So we need to make sure that we make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most, of this absolutely incredible once in a lifetime day. You will never get this day again. You understand that? You will never get this day again. And you've never experienced this day before, no matter what your mind might be telling you. It ain't Groundhog Day. You're not living Groundhog Day. You're not Bill Murray. No. Today's a fresh day, a new day, a day that you can create, a day that's going to be great. So today I am going to give you the greatest networking hack of all time. You heard it here first, folks. That's a bold claim. But see, what you have to understand is my name is Glenn Lundy. I'm a husband to one, a father to 8. I am the host of Hashtag Rise and Grind. This is my show. So if I want to make bold claims, I'll make a bold claim because I know I can back it up. Right? I'm the host of Hashtag Rise and Grind. I am also the creator of the Hashtag Rise and Grind group on Facebook. This is a place on Facebook where we have over 30,000 active members. And it's filled with nothing but motivation, education, and inspiration. That's all you're going to get. No politics, no division, no nonsense. It's the safest place on the internet. I got 52 moderators that make sure that's the case. So make sure you join our group if you're not a part of that. I'm also the founder of Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club over on Clubhouse, where we have created a space where everyone can get together, hang out on the table, talk about motivation, education, inspiration, Q&A, live interaction, all of that stuff, celebrity interviews. It's amazing. It's amazing. One of the most incredible experiences. Golly. You're going to want to be a part of that if you're over on Clubhouse. And I am the author of The Morning Five, 5 Simple Steps to an Extraordinary Life, a book that I wrote, an ebook that I wrote that you can download for free at themorning5.com that just helps you create a solid foundation first thing in the morning, right? Tapping into mind, body, and spirit. Now, listen, this week on hashtag Rise and Grind, all week, we've been in a series. We've been in a series called Your Network is Your Net Worth. And in that series, we covered the fact that you, and I say fact because it is a fact, we cover the fact that you are a reflection of the people around you. We discussed that earlier in the week. We also talked earlier in the week that it's so incredibly important that you audit your environment. Like you need to audit the rooms that you are in and the people that are in those rooms. And if you don't know what audit means, it means you need to study, you need to look around, you need to be super aware, right? You need to go through with a fine-tooth comb the people that you are around in the rooms that you are in. So incredibly important. All right. Also, earlier this week, we talked about how you need to empower your peers. You can network better and tap into bigger networks and get a seat at the table if you lift others up. You see, there's this quote that says, we rise by lifting others. And that's a fact, Jack. That is a fact. I can attest to that. That is what I do. I bring people to my stage. I bring people to my audience, right? We create live events. I put people up on the stage. Like that's what I'm all about, lifting others up. And I'm a testament to tell you that when you do that, my gosh, it unlocks some doors in your life. So we talked about that earlier in the week. We also, I taught you how to level up your network, how to ultimately get into the room and bottom line, earn your seat at the table. Earn it. Don't expect somebody to give it to you. Go out there and earn it, right? We talked about that yesterday. So if you missed any of the videos earlier in this series, any of the videos earlier this week, go to glennlundy.com. It'll connect you to all those. You can go back. You can check them out. If you missed any of them, they were powerful. You're going to want to go back. You're going to want to find the time. Trust me. However, if you missed them all, and this is the only one that you watch or that the only one that you listen to, congratulations. Because I'm about to give you the greatest networking hack of all time. But first, you guys are like, Glenn, just tell me what it is. Nope. First, we got to do something. Something we do on this show all the time. And for some reason, my computer's not letting me do it. So let's figure out what's going on there. There it is. All right. You know what we got to do. We got to do some dancing on this show. We got to do some dancing. We got to get the body moving. We got to get the blood flowing.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Hashtag Rise and Grind.
There we go. We got to get the heart pumping. We got to get the blood flowing. We got to do all of those things. That's right. That's right. That's right. For those of you that know, and those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. That's right. If you're on Facebook, oh, there's Sean Hayes. What's up, Sean Hayes? I was just talking about you yesterday. Great to see you. If you're on Facebook, I need you to hit that share button. All right? Because I believe if we can change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact on this planet. I truly believe that. And sometimes all it takes to change the way somebody starts their day is for you to hit that share button. If you're over on Instagram, I don't know what you do. I'm just figuring it out. But maybe you can get some other people in here. I don't know. For those of you that are on Clubhouse, I need you to go ahead and hit that plus button in the bottom right-hand corner. Hit the plus button and bring some people into this room. All right? You can be the catalyst of change for someone else just by bringing them in to the room. So go ahead and do that right now. This is also the part of the show where I want to say good morning to you, and I want you to say good morning to me. Whether you're watching on Facebook or Clubhouse or Instagram, maybe you're watching on YouTube, maybe you're listening to the podcast. Wherever you are, say what's up. I'll say what's up back. Fair enough? I see Captain J and Rosario, and I see Do What You Love and D LeBron over on Instagram, as well as many others. I see Sean Weatherby and Amanda Sender. I see Judy Anderson and Krista Bug. I see Sean Weatherby Good morning, Sean Weatherby. What's up, Sydney Seaman and Jayma Newhoff? How you doing, John Coltonborn? Mr. Amonte Harvey. How you doing, Linda LeBone, Brad Smith, Liza Myers, Borges. What's up, J.R. White? We've got Jeff Baker in the house, Tabby Negrit, Kurt Cahill. We got all kinds of folks up in here on hashtag Rise and Grind. Over on Clubhouse. Who's over on Clubhouse? I see Lauren. I see my boy Tanner. I see Ashley. I see a bunch of my moderator friends. And then I also see Laya and Nicole and Sophia. What's up, Johnny? How you doing, Kay? How you doing, Gabriel and Melissa? What's up, Tim and Aaron and LaFern? We got Maged up in the house this morning. We've got Ryan and Mitzi and Camilla and Dahlia and Paul and Dedrick. This is amazing. Look at it, people. Think about what's happening this morning. I just want you to think about it. There are 500 of us kicking off the day the right way. Just imagine what the world would look like if everybody started their day with motivation, education, and inspiration. What an impact it would make on this planet. So thank you so much for sharing this morning with me. It means the world to me that you're choosing to share your space and your time with me. There's a trillion places that you could be, and you chose to be here. And that means something to me. I will never take that for granted. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. I appreciate you so much that I'm going to give you the greatest networking hack of all time. How's that sound? I'm going to give you the greatest networking hack of all time, and I'm going to give it to you in like just a few seconds. I keep saying that, right? I'm for real this time, though. For real. Let's go.
To be the best version of yourself, and you're making these incredible decisions. You're doing this work, hashtag rise and grind.
About 10 years ago, roughly, I guess it was. About 10 years ago now, my dad died. He passed away. He fell asleep on a Sunday afternoon. He was 52 years old. He was incredibly healthy as far as we knew. Guy played basketball basically every day of his life. If he wasn't playing basketball, he was refereeing basketball. If he wasn't playing or refereeing basketball, he was watching basketball. He played basketball for the U.S. Army for 13 years. Basketball was my dad's jam. He basically had a Magic Johnson style of play where he was always passing off the ball with the no looks and the behind the backs and just creating amazing plays. He was incredible at rising by lifting others. What was one of the crazy and most memorable parts about my dad was that he was always smiling. He always had this really big, bright, white smile. His skin was such a deep, dark black. He was dark black. And his smile would just come through like a flashlight in a dark room. It's unbelievable. And because of that smile and his joyous attitude, my father impacted many, many, many people in Flagstaff, Arizona, where I grew up. So his passing was, of course, as all passings of a father would be, was an incredibly, incredibly sad day. I was here in Kentucky when I got the phone call. I couldn't believe what I had heard because it was just all so sudden. He always used to tell me when I was little, he said, Glenn, or JR is what he called me back then. He'd say, JR, all I hope is that the day I die, I just lay down to take a nap and I never wake up. He said, I just want to go out comfortable with socks on my feet. That's what he would always say. And that's exactly how he passed away. Ironically, or not. So I went out to Kentucky, or I left Kentucky, went back to Arizona for my dad's funeral. I'm his oldest son. So I had to put together a speech for his celebration of life. And of course, we had to handle the affairs as far as accounts and life insurance and, so on and so forth. Had to be strong, had to be a pillar for all my brothers and sisters. I have 7 brothers and sisters, so had to be a pillar for them. Had to be the strong one, had to be strong for my stepmom, had to do all of those things as the oldest. And so we got through that day, and at my dad's funeral, there was over 500 people that showed up at my dad's funeral. There was a line. The procession line was so incredibly long. It wrapped all the way like across the town. Flagstaff is not a very big town. It's only 6 miles across. And I stood up there for these 500 people, and I told jokes and talked about how my dad was, he loved to roller skate, and he always wore a fanny pack, and he had a beanie that he wore on his head. He was a Tampa Bay fan. And, we told jokes about who he was and how he had the biggest speakers in his cars all the time. He always had these big speakers. He loved music, everything from Motown to gospel to hip hop and rap music, all those things, right? And we laughed. And we cried. And then ultimately we buried him in the ground where he rests to this day. When we got done with that, my stepmom rented out the youth center, which was a place that had a basketball court that my dad spent a lot of time on, refereeing and helping the kids and so on and so forth. So we rented out the youth center, and everyone was invited, and we just started playing basketball, just running game after game after game after game of basketball. In honor of my father, we played basketball on his funeral day for hours on hours on hours on hours. And as the night came and we closed down the gym, we went over to my mom's house. My mom had dinner and the friends came over, and we sat and we played board games and we laughed and we shared stories of the memories of my father. And that night, I went to bed on the couch in my mom's house. And I woke up the next morning. It was 6 a.m. and there were a bunch of police officers that were standing around my head. They had their guns and they were waking me up, and they were saying, Mr. Lundy, get up, get up, get up, get up. And there were cops everywhere. I look up and my mom's there, and she's got tears pouring down her eyes. And it's just this chaotic scene to wake up to. I'm like, what is going on? And so they lift me up, and I don't have a shirt on, and it's cold, and they put the handcuffs on me, and they take me to jail. And they said that the reason that they were doing that is that ultimately when my dad died, him and I shared the same name, Glenn Lundy. And when he died, that they had ran the system to clear him out of the system. And it turned out that I had a warrant out for my arrest from a previous crime that I had never taken care of. And so they had been following me ever since I landed in Flagstaff, Arizona, and they were kind enough to allow me to go to my father's funeral and celebrate that day, but they didn't want me to be able to leave town, so they arrested me the next morning. And so here I was sitting in jail after just burying my father unexpectedly. And as I'm sitting in this jail cell, I pick up a book that I had read a little bit of before, but it really started to make an impact in my life. And this book was called Piercing the Darkness. It was written by Frank Peretti. And in this book, there's this crazy concept that there's angels and demons that exist in the world. And the angels and the demons are assigned to you at birth. And that ultimately these angels and these demons are fighting every single day. They're warriors that are fighting ultimately for your eternal soul. What a concept, right? What a concept to think that the moment you were born, there were warriors that were assigned to you. So I continued to read more of that book. And as I got out of the jail, I jumped on a plane to get the heck out of Arizona as fast as humanly possible. Right? Arizona is not my place. Let's just say that. And so I jump on a plane. I'm flying back. And as I'm on this plane, I'm sitting next to this guy, and I just start pouring my heart out to this guy. I'm sharing the story of my father. I'm crying, all of those things, right? Poor guy. I just unload on this like person that's never met me before, complete stranger. And so I unload on him, and we're talking. And as we start to go in for a landing, right, we start to come down. He says something really strange to me. He says, Glenn Lundy, do you own a watch? I said, no, I don't. I don't own a watch. The only time I ever had a watch was when I graduated high school. The only real gift my dad ever gave me is he had given me a watch for graduation. My senior, when I graduated high school, that was the gift from my father. And that watch, through all the trials and things that I had gone through, that watch had ultimately been pawned off. And so he looks at me and he says, I know this is going to sound weird, but something is telling me to give you my watch. And so he hands me this Giorgio Armani watch. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, just take it. You're not going to understand it. Just take it. He said, God is telling me to give you my watch. And so I'm in tears, and I just feel connected to my father. Here we are, 30,000 feet, so on and so forth. This random stranger's giving me a Giorgio Armani watch off his arm, says it's from God. Like, what is going on, right? What is going on? So when I get, and this guy's name was Adam Kramer, by the way. His name is Adam Kramer, incredible human. And so I get back on the ground, and I'm starting to think, I've got this book, I've got this watch, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I need to go check out this church thing. I never really did this church thing before. And so there's this church called Southland Christian Church. It's really a big church. And they had this thing called Space Between, where you could go in and on Thursday nights and you could learn more about like church and the Bible and so on and so forth. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this Space Between thing. And so I go and I show up and I feel really out of place. I feel really uncomfortable. I've never studied that kind of stuff before. Like, I don't know. I used to not even believe in God or Jesus or any of that stuff. And so I felt really uncomfortable, really out of place. Maybe I shouldn't be there. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to retreat. I'm going to leave. I shouldn't be here. These people like know Jesus and I don't. They've been here way before me and I haven't. They're already in the front of the line and I'm in the back of the line. And so I'm going to just get out of here while nobody's looking. And as I go to get out while nobody's looking, guess who walks in the door? Adam Kramer. The dude from the plane. Now, if you know anything about Kentucky, there's a church on every corner. But yet this dude just happens to walk in the room right as I'm walking out at the one church that I selected. And he ends up being there. And he says, Glenn, how are you? And he welcomes me and he sits me down and they share this parable. It's called the parable of the vineyard workers. And here's how the parable goes. It says, Jesus tells the parable of the workers in the vineyard to further explain what the kingdom of God is like. He says a landowner goes out early in the morning and hires men, agreeing to pay them the daily rate, a silver coin for a day's work. He hires them at various times throughout the day, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and promises all of the workers a fair wage. When the end of the day came, the landowner said to his manager to pay the workers, starting with those who had been hired last. And those who began working at 5 p.m. were given the daily rate, 1 silver coin. When it came to those who had been hired first, early in the morning, they thought that they were going to receive more. When they too were given the standard daily wage, they began to grumble. They were angry because they had done a lot more work than those who had started later in the day. The landowner did not listen to their complaints and reminded them that they had agreed to the daily rate of pay when they were hired. He said, am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? Or are you envious because I am generous? The landowner then says, the last will be first and the first will be last. And this parable it shook me to my core. You mean to tell me I can get the same eternal reward that these dudes that came before me get? that even though I'm last in line, the prize is the same. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And so I dove in. I dove into the church. I started learning more about Jesus. I met this guy named Darian Sanders, who's an incredible human being and absolutely changed my life and has become one of my best friends. I met a girl named Melissa Thompson who poured into me and believed in me, even though most people thought I was a punk and a thug. I ended up getting baptized at that church. I met more friends. I became a part of a tremendous family. Like, I learned about Jesus. I learned about Jesus, whose story has sold 3.6 billion books worldwide. Number one best-selling book of all time is the Bible. 3.6 billion copies of that sucker worldwide. The second closest is the Harry Potter series at 700 million, to give you some comparison. There's a reason for that. You see, Jesus was the ultimate networker. He chose 12 disciples, a bunch of thugs, hoodlums, swindlers. He chose them, and he educated them, and he poured into them, and he lifted them up, right? He lifted them up, and he taught them how to go out and reach more. He taught them how to go out and gather followers. He taught them how to go out and spread a message of hope. And here we are 2,000 years later. 2,000 years later, billions of people are all a part of this big, massive network. So here's your networking hack. If you want to increase your network, then you need to walk like Jesus. Boldly, strong, mission-driven, mission-oriented, on the move to make an impact on others. If you want to increase your network, then I need you to talk like Jesus. He's kind. He's a visionary. He speaks of hope and positivity and empowers other people. If you want to increase your network, then act like Jesus. Be humble. Be inclusive. Don't be divisive. Have other people's best interest in mind. Listen, there is no better way to increase your network and your net worth than Jesus. Just saying. There's a reason for that. The reason there's no better way than to walk like the man, talk like the man, lead like the man, act like the man, be willing to die for others like the man, be willing to carry the workload like the man. There's a reason that that is the greatest networking hack that exists in all of history. There's a reason, and here's the reason. Because you are a child of God. That's why. You are a child of God. The God of the universe created you to be the absolute best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And the only way that you can truly tap into that is you have to live a 3D life. One where you're attuned to mind, body, and spirit. I'm your friend. I love you. I do. As my brother and as my sister, I absolutely stinking love you. So let me breathe this into you today. I've lived a 2D life. I spent 30 years in a 2D life. If it looked good and it felt good, the answer was yes. No consequences. Survival of the fittest. We are flesh and we are bone. We come from the dirt. We go back to the dirt. I lived that life. I lived it. And it led me down a path to homelessness, hopelessness, depression, and ultimately suicidal. So I'm here to tell you there's a better way. When you live your life in 3D, mind, body, and spirit, understanding that you have both the ability and the responsibility to go out and make an impact on this planet, everything changes. I went from a guy that was invisible on a beach to a guy now that gets to share his mornings with hundreds of people and ultimately tens of thousands of people all around the world every single day. How? I tapped into source, friends. I tapped into source. I know who I am and I know whose I am. And when you make that shift, greatest networking hack of all time. Listen, if you need more videos like this, you can go to glennlundy.com. That's right. You can go to glennlundy.com. I want you to go out there and have an incredible day today. You can always come back here tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We're going to do this all over again. Come join us over on Clubhouse. I'm going to go over there. We're going to talk about this. You can ask questions. You can say, hey, Glenn, I don't believe in God. And I'm going to say, cool, I love you. Let's get in here. Let's talk about this. Or you might say, hey, Glenn, the Christian religion, I'm not down with that jam. And I'm going to say, okay, great. I love you. Get in here. Let's have a conversation, right? Like, let's talk. That's what we do over on Clubhouse. So come join us over on Clubhouse. We're going to hang out for the next few hours. We're going to have different, it's just going to be fun. All right. So come join us over there. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We're going to do this all over again on hashtag Rise and Grind. Stinking love you. Get out of here.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Hashtag Rise and Grind, hashtag Rise and Grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation, feeling so divine. Waking up the nation. Hashtag Rise and Grind. Hashtag Rise and Grind. Grind, 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 grind. Hashtag Rise and Grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation, feeling so divine. Waking up the nation. Hashtag Rise and Grind. Hashtag Rise and Grind. Don't stop, get it, get it. Hashtag Rise and Grind. Good morning. On my feet before the sunrise. Stepped into my greatness, feeling powerful and energized. Thankful to be alive. Hashtag blessed. Write my